The Mavic 3 Pro has just been released, but will a 5.1K be enough to beat the Avata? These are two very different drones to achieve two very different looks, so which one do you prefer? The classic slow cinematic parallax or the epic and dramatic FPV lines? I recently had the opportunity to fly to Northern Australia for a project, and on the way we went past the tallest waterfall in Australia. Now, when I heard about this waterfall being the tallest in Australia, I immediately gravitated towards using the FPV drone, even though I just got the Mavic 3 Pro. Why is that? Because I knew the shots from the Avata or any FPV drone was just going to be so epic compared to what the Mavic 3 Pro could do. But I thought in this case I would pair them up against each other, and I know they're very different drones and achieve completely different things, but I wanted to test to see how cinematic the Avata could be and how epic the Mavic 3 could be, and which one did I actually prefer if I could only take one drone in my bag. So when you're flying an FPV drone, there is an added risk that you're never gonna see it again. That's just the risk you take. And that's what makes flying FPV so exciting. It's the risk, it's the adrenaline, and it's being there first person when you're flying down a freaking waterfall and getting that rush of, it actually feels like you're a bird. I know it sounds stupid because everybody says that, but until you've gone down a waterfall, first person view from an FPV drone, you haven't lived. But having said all that, you do risk the fact of losing your drone completely, and you have to be okay with that, because to get those awesome shots, you need to take risks. And in this situation, when I was flying across the gorge, the Avata had that brake issue that's supposed to be fixed. Now this caused the drone to flip upside down, and thank God didn't hit the ground and hovered, flicked back into normal mode, and it was fine. It just gave me the heebie-jeebies and I wanted to come back. Oh my God. I might just come back and land. I don't know what I should do actually. This is the first time I've ever flown down a waterfall, so my adrenaline was high, I was shaking, it was a lot. And for then this to have a brake issue and start flipping upside down, I kind of wanted to get the drone back to base, so at least I had something to show for my efforts. But I was all the way over on the other side of the gorge. So I knew I just didn't have a good enough take, so I went one more time. And I'm so glad I did. This was the best take ever. Like down the bottom of that gorge, the sun wasn't there, but for this take, the sun came out and everything was lit up. And I know I could have done so much better. It's not the best FPV shot in the world. There's no line, it's just me going down the waterfall. I should have continued down the gorge. I should have started up along the ridge. There's so much more I could have done. But this is the whole thing about learning FPV, is you take these baby steps and you grow your confidence. So next time I know, I've done this before, I know what to do, and it will be easier. Now when it comes to the Mavic 3 Pro, I was also a bit nervous about flying this because it's probably the second or third time I've flown it, and flying it over a big gorge is always a risk, and it was super windy as well. The best thing about this drone is you don't have to fly all the way over to the other side of the gorge. When you have these three lenses, you can punch in and get those amazing shots without taking too many risks. Another great thing about this drone is it's capable of flying in 45km/h winds, which is so good because for the whole trip that I was flying this thing, we were flying in 30-40km/h winds. It was crazy. So to have the confidence that this thing is going to be able to fly and fly well was super good. Now when it comes to the two comparisons of these drones, obviously they're completely different, I do know that, but I think they both have their place in my heart. I love the FPV drone, it is just such a unique view. And then the Mavic 3 Pro is just such a beautiful image. When you're shooting in that 5.1K, it is so crisp and so clear. and the colors are just beautiful, and you can just capture a whole scene really easily. No stress, no pressure. And that brings me back to why I'm gravitating towards FPV drones, is because everybody has one of these normal drones these days. So to try and make our stuff look different, that's why I love the FPV drone, because not a lot of people are willing to fly this thing because it is scary. There's a big learning curve. So you have to really find out what content you want to produce and what you're comfortable producing. The Mavic 3 Pro is always going to be banger video content, and the Avata is always going to be banger video content. So let me know in the comments down below which one you would prefer if you had to choose only one to put in your bag. And if you did like this video, check out the other videos on screen now because you will love them also.